This channel supports 8-Bit Salute and Operation Supply Drop. Please help us raise money to help support our men and women in service throughout the world. Operation Supply Drop, making fun where there is none. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and been a week since the fight, a little over a week. But I decided to cut a video, then sick, so kind of didn't want to do anything while I was sick. But I'm glad I didn't because it gave me a while to go over some of the opinions and just think about the whole Ronda Rousey ordeal. For those of you who don't know, first of all, how you not know? It's been one of the biggest sports stories since it happened. Ronda Rousey came back after about a year to face the current bantamweight women's champion, Amanda Nunes. And she got her ass kicked. That's the best way to put it because that's what exactly happened. 48 seconds, she got whooped. Amanda Nunes punched her lights the fuck out. Although I will say this, credit to Ronda Rousey, even though she was pretty much asleep, she was sleepwalking like shit. She didn't go down. Um, some people were like, "Why did the ref stop it?" But no, you need to stop that. She was a fucking punching bag. You ever see the episode of The Simpsons when Homer would beat people because he would continue to get punched in the face and tire out, and then he faced what was his name, Frederick Tatum, the guy who's supposed to mimic Mike Tyson, who basically was beating the shit out of Homer, and you hear Marge in the crowd "Stop the fight! He's gonna die on his feet" or some shit like that. Or it wasn't Mo who said it. I forget who, but yeah, basically they were like, "He's gonna die on his feet," even though he wouldn't go down. He's just getting fucked. That was Ronda Rousey. She was the equivalent of Homer getting beat the fuck up while still standing on her feet. And the ref didn't want to see her die on her feet. So kudos to him for the stoppage. So the debate goes on because, as with the last fight, she pretty much didn't say anything. She just walked off into the sunset. I believe she did release a statement a few days later, but she wouldn't speak to the media. She didn't say anything after the fight. She just walked off in her misery. And pretty much most of the talk on her behalf has been by other people, her mom in particular. So, of course, commentators, pro Ronda Rousey, anti Ronda Rousey commentaries have been going all over the place. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the whole situation because it's a fascinating thing to see. Um, with the Holly Holmes fight, we saw her get lit up for the first time. At that point, she beat everybody in front of her, 12-0. She beat them convincingly. Everybody was just talking, cheering her on, saying how she probably could beat Floyd Mayweather, which, hey, at that time, that's how a lot of people felt. I probably felt that way myself because this is Floyd in his later years. This is her at the peak of her what we thought was her career, um, and all that. So, people just throwing out all types of stuff about her, about how amazing she was. Then she got caught. She got knocked out, and she just basically disappeared off the face of the earth. Wouldn't talk. Got depressed. There were rumors that she was suicidal. All types of things. And of course, the internet saw the weakness and they descended on her and made it worse. Everybody just went crazy. People who love to see those who do well fall went nuts. Um, People who didn't like her went nuts. People who liked her all of a sudden did a 180 and just went nuts on her for the way she handled the aftermath of that fight. Um, and it was crazy. She lost her luster. So coming back, this was supposed to be her chance to regain that luster. Because let's be honest, people, had she won, and this is not just for fans who turned on her, but people who didn't like her as well. Had she won, she would have been celebrated for what she did. She would have gained back probably the majority, if not all, of her respect and luster, and nobody would be talking shit about her. But we all come out and love to raise people when they fuck up. That's just it's human nature. You know, someone of her stature gets beat down, fucks up, and everybody goes in on her. And I've heard many fighters say the same thing. Many people who are like heavy in MMA, big UFC officials, people who are just MMA aficionados, writers, ex fighters, things like that. They all say the same thing, and I agree with them. Had she won, oh, nobody be talking no shit about her at all. They'd be most likely, on her side, all over her. But she lost, so now let's all descend upon Ronda Rousey and tear her apart. Um, you know, just looking at it, I agree with a lot of the people who say it's a lot of people don't understand how it is to be in her position and to lose like she lost. Granted, there are some things that she could have did differently. Things that she did that helped bring about the negative imagery and reaction. I mean, again, the way that she reacted in her first loss against Holly Holm, where she just basically shut the world out and wouldn't speak. She wouldn't even say anything after the fight. She wouldn't congratulate her opponent or anything like that. That spoke volumes. That spoke, of a person who has no idea how to deal with being on the other side of the fence. And you kind of could sort of dismiss it that first time because she never had to experience it before, so it was something new. It's something that took her aback, and you could say like caught her off guard, and she didn't know how to handle it. Um, Mind you, she had plenty of opportunities afterwards, not just the immediate aftermath, but months later, down the road, she could have came out and been like, I apologize. I should have said something. Um, Holly Holmes fought a great fight. Blah 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 blah. She may have, but we don't really hear that much because most of the stories about her were about her how she was dealing with it negatively, the whole suicide thing and depression and all of that, the seclusion, blacking out the media, what have you. Um, so coming into this fight with no media coverage, not talking to the media, not really showing much, just walking right into the octagon and going about the fight, it built some more negative heat towards her. And I'm sure that had to be on her mind too, which is sad because I've heard people say like part of the problem they think was that she should have did the media stuff. She should have been more public and more open because part of that is what builds you towards the fight. It gets you like used to the atmosphere. It's like she probably did herself a disservice by being such a like reclusive person leading up to the fight that she stepped right into the lights and she might not have been prepared for being in the lights again. It's one thing to um you know it's one thing that she's fought before in the octagon, but you lose a sense of how it is going into things when you pull yourself so far back like she did. Um, that might have hurt her too. Of course, Amanda Nunez hurt her much more because those punches were lethal. Like, let's not take anything away from Amanda Nunez. First of all, that woman hits like fucking steel, and she punished the fuck out of Rousey face. But you have to think that things that Ronda Rousey did kind of helped make it easier for Amanda Nunez to punish her because it's like, again, the seclusion. A lot of people like to talk about the trainer, how he didn't train her properly. That probably did play a lot because if you look at the way she was coming in, she was standing straight up, She wasn't really throwing punches. When she did, they were just straight standing tall punches. She wasn't moving. She wasn't trying to get out of the way. Um, she had no boxing skill. And the thing is, when you get beat a certain way in MMA, the best thing you can do to help yourself is to train to counter that. Conor McGregor did the exact same thing, where Nate Diaz came at him, got in, and tapped him out. So Conor McGregor was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this guy get in and take an opportunity to take me down, because if he gets me on the ground, he probably will fucking tap me out again. So I need to stop that, and I need to keep him away. I need to circle. I need to move. I need to hit him when I get an opportunity. Like when he tries to come in, back him off, and eventually wear him down. That's exactly what Conor McGregor did. He trained against that. He wouldn't let Diaz get his hands on him like that. Um, and he fucked Diaz's face up while Diaz was trying to get in and won on points. Boom. That's what you do. You try to counter the things that you have issues with. You train against your flaws. You train against the opponent's um, positives. And I don't know. It just don't seem like Rousey came into the fight looking to counter what Nunez does. And from now until infinity, everybody who fights her is probably going to try to box her and not engage in, um, you know, a martial arts type of thing. They're going to try to strike her. They're not going to want to, throw a bunch of kicks and all of that. They're just going to punch because she doesn't seem to be able to defend boxing. Mind you, Holly Holmes caught her with a kick, but all of that was set up by the punching that kept her at bay. She doesn't seem to do well with that, with a boxing style. You know, anybody who's a boxer or a Thai boxer can probably beat her down from now on, unless she trains to build against that. So yeah, the trainer does have some uh, fault at that because he didn't prepare her, but I think ultimately she didn't make the right decisions. She kept to that style. I guess she trusts her trainer so much, but you would think that she would recognize, yo, I need to train against what this girl does. But she's never had to do that before. And, a lot of people want to shit on her legacy, say, well, this is what happens when you fight nothing but weak competition. It's not her fault that when she came in, everybody wasn't as good as she is. That's the thing. You can't blame that. It's just like, the one thing I always go back to when I think about the whole ordeal with Ronda Rousey and her last two losses is the Mike Tyson saga. There's a lot of big differences, but the similarities are spot on. Tyson, when he was impressing everybody and blowing the world away, if you look at the level of competition that he fought, they weren't the best people in the world. The heavyweight division had just left the golden era, and we were all starving for a star for some reason to care about the heavyweight division. It's kind of like it is now, where there's nobody to latch on in the heavyweight division, so people feel like boxing is down. Um, Tyson brought that magnitude, that stardom, because you got this young, fresh, in shape, powerful hitting kid who just decimates his competition in glorious fashion. And we were all just like sucked into it. People were paying $50 at the time. It was $50. $50 a fight to see a man beat the shit out of somebody in less than a minute, in less than a round. He didn't have many fights that went beyond 2-3 rounds. A handful, because he was just so ferocious, and so many people feared him in his division that he would just he had a lot of people mentally beat
before the fight. But even those he didn't, he would get in the ring, and once his power connected, they go, oh shit, and they fold, you know? Um, and we love to see that because he was just knocking people out in glorious fashion, knocking people just like he hit somebody and they would crumple, and we just go, ooh, you know. But then as his personal demons and as time went on, um, you know, he found an opponent, Buster Douglas, who didn't treat him like he was the boogeyman. It had happened before. You know, a lot of people always say Mitch Blood Green was the first to do it, and he went full 10 rounds. Although if you look at that fight, he wasn't really punching hard. He was punching to keep Tyson away more than to try to win. Uh, but no, Buster Douglas, he fought smart. He didn't let his fear overcome him. He was like, "Yo, I'm a boxer too. I'm in here to win." And he executed his game plan. And of course, Tyson had already been going through a bunch of bullshit, so mentally he wasn't there. But regardless of that fact, Buster Douglas beat him because he figured out a way to not be overwhelmed by Tyson's aura. Um, and once Buster Douglas beat him, what happened to Tyson? You know, again, yeah, he had a bunch of personal demons, things that happened, going to jail, blah 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 blah. But at that time, Buster Douglas kind of set a standard for a lot of people because it was like, yo, Superman has, we found Superman's kryptonite, so to speak, and this guy isn't unbeatable. You can find a way to beat him, and that's psychological advantage that fighters like Tyson, like Rousey had, like, that's huge. Once you knock that off, it becomes just a question of, am I good enough to weather the storm and do what I need to do to conquer this person? And that's how everybody's going into the ring now. It's no longer the shit, I gotta fight Ronda Rousey, and I just hope that she doesn't get me in an armbar. It's now, okay, here's what I need to do. I just need to do it. Let's go. People aren't tentative anymore. They know that they have a chance. All you have to do is give people a little window of hope, and that's it. The window of hope was open with Ronda Rousey, just like it was open with Tyson. And once the specter goes away, that this person is invincible, it's fair game, and it's up to that person to like reinvent themselves and build back up that aura of invincibility, or find a way to overcome not having that. And Ronda Rousey couldn't do it in this fight. She maybe refused to do it. Maybe that first fight against Holly Holmes devastated her so much that she just couldn't get over it. Just like the Tyson thing. You know, some may say that after Buster Douglas beat him, he just lost his flavor for fighting, his will. He was only doing it for the money at that point when he got out, just for survival, and it wasn't the thing that he loved anymore. Sometimes that happens. Once you get that loss and you reflect on that, you're done. You're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Especially if you lose again, and that's what a lot of people are saying about Ronda Rousey, is that now that she lost again, what's her will to fight? Is there any will to fight? Is she going to come back? Is she going to retire? Because this might be the thing that breaks her. Just like Tyson losing again might have been the thing that break him. Because it's like, yeah, nah, I'm really not the unbeatable force anymore. So what am I doing this for? It's not funny. It's always, it's an old saying, but it's a saying that sometimes rings true when it comes to stuff like this. It's never any fun once the rabbit has the gun, which means that it's okay when you're the hunter, when you're the predator, and everybody in front of you is your prey. But once the prey all of a sudden becomes an equal predator, and that it's no longer a you against a weaker opponent, but it's you against somebody who thinks that they are just as good and have just as fair as a chance of beating you as you do them. Totally different story because you don't have that edge, that advantage, that strength. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see what Rousey does. I think people need to stop banging on her too about her legacy because ultimately her legacy shouldn't be doused on. Again, it wasn't her fault that she was fighting against poor competition. Her legacy is not necessarily her wins anyway, but it's the fact that her wins help make people notice female MMA more. Like you can say all you want about Chris Cyborg being a badass, and while Amanda Nunes deserves all the respect in the world, she wasn't the person to carry her division or the female MMA to the spot where it is now. She probably might begrudgingly say it because I know she feels disrespected. But truth be told, when did we ever give a fuck about seeing a women's bantamweight championship fight as the main event of a MMA um, uh, presentation before Ronda Rousey? She did draw attention. Say what you. It's just like again going back to the whole Tyson thing. Heavyweight championship boxing was kind of on the decline because Ali and all of them had came and gone. Um, you know, Larry Holmes, he got the title, but he kind of had his like run and kind of faded off a little bit too. Tyson reinvigorated that. Ronda Rousey, she helped bring more of a light, more of a presence. And again, as badass as people say that Chris Cyborg is, we might not care who the fuck Chris Cyborg is if it was for Ronda Rousey making us care about the fact that, hey, there is women's MMA. You know what I mean? Just like Layla Ali may not be the best female boxer ever in a lot of people's mind, but she was the star and she drew attention to it that made people pay attention. You know what I mean? So you can't kill that legacy of Ronda Rousey. You could say what you want about her, but yeah, her legacy is well in place, and nobody could take that away from her. But yeah, she needs to figure some things out. She needs to fucking get her mental state together. She's going to continue to fight, and she's going to have to learn how to deal with loss because she's not the first MMA person to lose. Hell, Amanda Nunes has lost. Yeah, she kept going. Um, Again, Conor McGregor, fucking everybody who's a big thing in MMA has been beat once or twice. That they keep going. That's what makes them great. And as far as like ring legacy, if she wants people to continue to think that she's great in the ring, then yeah, hell fucking yeah, she needs to get over herself and like learn how to deal with things better, and probably get a new coach and learn how to better prepare for fights against different opponents. But anyway, that's my long ass talk on that subject. Anyway, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak Magus, and I'm out. Deuces.